Welcome to China Tech Talk, the weekly discussion of technology and startups here in China. I'm John Artman, editor-in-chief of TechNode, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew Brennan, founder of China Channel. So this week, we're going to give you two separate interviews that happened during our TechCrunch event that happened earlier this week. If you missed it, I highly recommend trying to make it out for the next one, probably going to be in Shenzhen. It was a great time. We had some really good speakers on the main stage, as well as some really interesting content on the side stage, and then of course, all the other things that we did. But this week we wanted to feature some interviews that we did actually while we were there. Unfortunately, it's only going to be Matt who did the interviews. I was running around doing a bunch of other things, but I think you'll find that the interviews are just as good anyway. And so this week we spoke with Chen Ziling, founder and CEO of BingoBox, as well as Donovan Sung, the Director of Product and Marketing at Xiaomi Global. So Chen is going to talk a little bit about what it's like to build an unmanned convenience store, but then also the future of unmanned retail and unmanned services. Matt and Chen get into a bit of a deep discussion about what it means for the future of work, which I think, looking at the increasing role of artificial intelligence in our world, this is going to be a bigger and bigger question. And then we're going to hear the interview with Donovan, who talks a lot about the Xiaomi's global ambition, but as well as kind of how they're maintaining their brand identity and their brand promises as they go global. And with that, we give you Chen Ziling, founder and CEO of BingoBox.
Explain your story about yourself, your personal journey of how you got to where you are today with the CEO of BingoBox and the story of BingoBox.
I have I am a continuously entrepreneur, and I have started several companies before. I start my first company at 2005. And then after that, I went to the advertisement industry. I work for Augury for years. Yeah, and after Augury, I start Bingo Fresh. It's a fresh food e-commerce website. And then after Bingo Fresh, I turned the program to turn the project to BingoBox. I start BingoBox at the February 2016. It's my story.
You guys started in Zhongshan first, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Your first store was down in Guangdong province.
Yes.
But you yourself, why did you start there? Why did you start in Zhongshan?
I mean, first that Zhongshan is my hometown, and before that I work in Beijing, and the most important thing is Zhongshan. I have some resources, like I have my partners in Zhongshan, and Zhongshan the business cost is quite relatively lower than Beijing, because we have not enough money at that time, so.
Sure. So what inspired you to do the staffless stores, the peopless stores? What made you jump into this area? I have to say it's not intended. Last year, when the BingoBox concept is starting from a refrigerator located in the communities. I do this. My intention is to lower my delivery cost. Before BingoBox, I run a website, a e-commerce website, Bingo Fresh, that was selling fresh foods online, and we built our delivery system. Right. So the intention is to lower the cost. I put a refrigerator downstairs at the community at the 小区. Yes, the housing community. and I put the fruits inside the refrigerator and ask the consumers go downstairs, they pick up themselves. Then the efficiency is very high. And when I tested this model, I feel it works. So the next step I am thinking of, how about I put some products inside the refrigerator and to make some money and to cover my electricity fee and rental. And when this idea come up in my mind, I think, why not just do it just make a staffless store, because all the technical solution is the same.
You brought the solutions together.
Yes.
And made the package yourself for the staffless store.
Yes. We put a lot of effort to find our own solution, and I'm happy that the experienced consumer like it. Consumer like it very much, so that give me confidence to roll out to the market.
So for the what is the operational efficiency that you can get by having a staffless store? I mean, how much can you save by reducing the labor cost?
Okay, that is we have a very huge save of the labor costs.
Yeah.
Compared to the Papa Mamas or the traditional convenience store.
Yeah.
You know, for the Papa Mamas, the labor cost is almost the major cost of their operational cost. Mm-hmm. So when we talking about we have a staffless convenience store, we save 85% plus of the operational cost. We just put we traditionally, if you want to run a 7/24 convenience store, you need to have at least 3 people to 5 people. And for us, we have 1 people in the back end just to watching the monitor, the CCTV. To one people we can service 40 boxes. 40. So that 3 times 40, you get 120 times efficiency enhanced. So that's the technical, the technology to empower us to do these things. We have some monitors to analyze the human behavior, and when the camera detect you have some illegal behavior that will pop up at the back end. So it's as a replacement. We don't have people to sit in front side to watch you. Mm-hmm. So that is very high efficiency. So when we use this staffless store, that we can empower us to have a 7/24 convenience store everywhere. You mean everywhere? That in this way we can absorb a lot of traffic. Like before in your living compound, there is no way you have a convenience store downstairs, or each building have a 24-hour convenience store. That's impossible because the traffic is not enough to raise any traditional convenience store.
Right.
The traffic's very low, and the rental and the labor costs are going up. So in this way, first we save the labor costs, and in the other way, we provide more convenience to the consumer. That consumer will like us. That is a positive cycle.
Right. Okay. You mentioned just. Sorry.
Okay. You mentioned just there about if there's some illegal behaviour. So, have there been any case studies of people trying to steal from the stores? And if so, what happens if someone does that? Have you got some real life scenario where that happened?
Okay, so for the illegal behavior, we for the in our operation, okay. In fact, you can see most of the people, they are just going to buy. They are not going to steal.
Sure.
So we can see some of the steal is intended, like our investors, our potential investors and medias,
Right.
like reporters, they want to check the system.
Yeah.
So most of the cases is under that scenario. So when you behave illegally, what happened? Firstly, our backend, our online service attendant will contact the box. You will hear voices from the bingo box, and someone will tell you, "Hey, anything help?
Can I help you?
Can I help you? Can I help you?" So you know immediately you find that you are under what you are under
Under surveillance.
under surveillance. So that's the pressure. So that makes you not behave bad because everything will record it. And in the worst case is that you commit a stealing. You pick the
crime.
things, commit a crime. You pick the product out, and if that happens, you will the next day you get a SMS and telling you have a product not pay, and below is the payment link. Please pay back. So you automatically you can receive a text like that, or
How do you know their phone numbers? Is it because they log in with WeChat when they open the door? So, but that doesn't give you their phone number.
you will give me the phone number. If you don't give the phone number, you cannot access. You cannot get inside. Okay, so you definitely need to provide your phone number, and we will do the verification. And if you are an intended theft, a thief, so you will have ways to access the bingo box illegally, and that we cannot trace back. If we don't have your phone number, we have your face. We have face recognition, and when we have a team to do the scanning of this kind of illegal access. So when we find that this person is a thief,
Yep.
then we will put it in blacklist, and then
You can never enter.
you can
the
never
store.
enter the bingo box.
Okay.
That's the way we sort.
Would that affect your credit score as well? Is that like something that you would feed back to Sesame Credit, for example?
Yes, we will have. We have that. We have such kind of cooperation with some online credit systems like like 蚂蚁金服 in China.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sesame Credit or Tencent Credit.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Okay, cool. How far can this trend go, Jackie? Like, how many? It's early days for staffless stores in China, but how many stores can you guys open, and how big can this industry become?
The first question: how many stores we are going to open? I have a aggressive plan. Is for the 1 year. 1 year we are going to open 5,000 stores in China.
How many do you have now?
I have over 200, but it's just a start. We are confident in this plan. And how big is this market? I think it will be as big as the traditional retail market, because it is part of the retail market, and I think. To some extent, it's a high efficiency version of the traditional retail market. So it's a very huge market.
You guys are a good example, and I think there's many technologies now in China, including AI, including staffless stores, and it's clear that they're going to displace a lot of and disrupt a lot of employment for lower tier employment. How do you feel about this? What do you say to people that this what you are doing is going to disrupt society and potentially cause a lot of unemployment? What would you say to people like that who are making those points?
I don't think it's a destroy to the original the lower tier of employment. I think I take it as the evolvement of the society. The society will evolve towards a more high efficiency way. So back to the employment issue, I think it's a replacement. I think those low tier job and not creative job will eventually will pass to machines.
Right.
So, you can see, we have blacksmiths 100 years ago. Now we cannot see this application. So, I think is the society is evolving, is improving, and so I think people in the future should do the jobs that need creation and more creative job human can do, and that's the technology set us free from that low duplicate job, some low tier job.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you. I think the question is, what happens if this change happens too fast? Society maybe can't cope with the speed of the change. Right? What would you say about that?
I don't know how far is too fast. So, I believe in the society. I believe in China. China has developed so fast in the past few decades, and I think the society has the can bear of this speed, and that I don't think that's the problem I should care about. It's our government, our leaders care about.
Government problem.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Jackie.
And now we get to the part of the episode where we talk with Donovan Sung, Director of Product and Marketing at Xiaomi Global. Again, it's a very interesting conversation. I think that Donovan is able to shed a lot of light on what Xiaomi is doing abroad, but then also how they're maintaining their brand identity and the brand promise of providing affordable products at a fairly high quality. And with that, we give you Donovan Sung.
Okay, Donovan, thank you for your time and being here today.
Thank you guys for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
Okay, first off, we always ask our guests, can you tell me your personal story? How did you get to be here today working with Xiaomi? And I know I've looked at your very impressive CV. You've worked for companies like Spotify before. You've got quite a journey, I think.
Sure,
so
yeah.
How did what is that journey? Tell us.
Yeah, so I've been at Xiaomi now for 3 years. Was very fortunate to be able to join Xiaomi sort of right as we were really expanding globally in a very big way. And it's definitely been a crazy journey, I would say. Right. Really interesting, just a lifetime worth of memories. So my background is, I grew up in the U.S. Mm-hmm. I never lived in China before I came to Xiaomi. And I come mostly from a product and engineering background. I had previously worked mostly at internet companies, Google, YouTube, Spotify. And so coming to Xiaomi, which combines a lot of internet thinking, but on a much broader scale than just pure internet products, was sort of a very amazing platform, just an amazing journey. And one of the reasons, I decided to come to Xiaomi 3 years ago is I saw a couple of trends. I think, first of all, I think the Chinese internet scene is just evolving so quickly. There's so many new companies, new ways of attacking the market and expanding that I felt like as a Chinese American, it would be really, really cool to be able to participate in that.
Right.
Maybe even help a Chinese company go global and become a global company.
Definitely.
I think the second thing is Xiaomi in particular has a lot of the aspects that I found very attractive in some of my previous companies and employers. For example, Xiaomi is very focused on products. We're very focused on making amazing products at amazing prices for people. And that kind of philosophy really resonates with me. This ability to be able to, take very high-tech things, whether it's the best processor or the world's first full-screen display smartphone, put it into this compact product and then be able to sell it. And I think Xiaomi, third of all, is a very non-traditional company in a lot of ways. We don't do a lot of traditional marketing or advertising or maybe even ways of selling things. We started at a time in China where no one had ever really sold phones online. And we didn't even think it was possible necessarily, but we felt like we had to try. And before we know it, we had become number one in China in just 2.5 years, mostly through selling online, including our own e-commerce platform called Me.com. We don't do a lot of traditional marketing or advertising. We instead rely a lot on word of mouth, social media channels, viral campaigns, things like that. So I think just the whole package of Xiaomi was such an interesting adventure that I thought that it would be an amazing thing to come join this company at this time.
Awesome. So for Xiaomi, how would you guys describe your company values and your core mission?
So Xiaomi's mission, the company mission is innovation for everyone. So there's a lot to unpack there. When it comes to innovation, we want to be using the most forward and advanced technologies in all of our products. So typically when it comes to a new, for example, phone processor, many times we're the very first phone to be able to launch with that processor. For example, our most recently launched Mi 6 was the first one to use the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820. We also have a whole range of different technologies which I could go endlessly about. Mi Mix, which we launched 1 year ago, was the world's first full-screen display phone. All right, where we removed the bezel at the very top of the phone. A lot of different technologies. We had to replace the front camera sensor. We had to replace the sensor with the ultrasonic proximity sensor. We had to replace the earpiece with this piezoelectric vibrator. So just a lot of really interesting technology. The other part is for everyone. So we don't want Xiaomi to just be available in China. We want everyone in the world to be able to buy it. Sure. And we've started with a few countries like India, Indonesia, Russia. We just launched in Spain a few weeks ago. So now we're entering into Western Europe as well. And everyone, another very important thing is not just people who are in the highest tier of income. We want everyone in the world, no matter what income level they're at, to be able to buy our products. And that's why we price all of our hardware very aggressively at close to cost, because we want to return value to the customer. So innovation for everyone is our mission, and we stick to it very, very key. In terms of our core value system, I think that there are two key words that I would use. The very first word is sincerity, and the second word is passion. So the first word, sincerity, is we want to be sincere in our products. We want users to trust us and trust over time that they're buying a high quality product or the world's highest quality product. And we do this by being very transparent about the costs and just saying, I'm just selling it to you at what it costs to make. I'm not trying to make extra money off of people. And we try to make the world's best products. We don't put malware or spyware or any sort of thing on our phones. Everything we do is just what you see is what you get. And the second thing is passion. We want to be a passionate, approachable brand. We want users to feel like they're passionate about Xiaomi and we are passionate about our users. And that communicates through every piece of messaging that we do, whether through our website, whether through these kinds of interactions, whether through our social media, our offline fan gatherings, so on and so forth. So the two words that I would use to summarize Xiaomi's key value system are sincerity and passion.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there, actually. Many questions came to mind when you're describing that. Let's start. You mentioned there one important thing about how you provide. Actually, your products are very, very reasonably priced, and I think that's definitely for you guys an advantage. You just said, okay, we provide it to you at the cost that it takes to make the device. So how does that, how do you guys, keep scaling at such a size if you're making such a, you're selling it at such a low price? What's the business model? I've heard before that Xiaomi plans to make money from services. Can you describe more about this and expand upon this for our listeners?
Absolutely. So we have innovation in a number of areas. And one of the key areas is innovation in business model. So our business model has three main pillars. Mm-hmm. The first main pillar is phones and hardware, which I think most people are probably quite familiar with. It's just all of our amazing product lines, whether phones, TVs, scooters, rice cookers, fitness bands, so on and so forth. We have over 150 to 200 SKUs already. Right. So that's the first pillar of our business, and we price it very aggressively. The second pillar of our business is what we call our new retail business, and that involves us making sure that we combine online and offline channels so that we sell at the same amazing price. And a lot of times, we personally run and operate these channels ourselves. For example, in China, when we first started selling, we actually first started selling through our own e-commerce channel called Mi.com, which of course allows us to go direct to consumer and be able to sell it at close to cost. Then we started to partner with other third-party e-commerce platforms like JD.com and Alibaba and so forth. In India, we had a very similar story. From day one, we also launched Mi.com, but we also worked with big partners like Flipkart and Amazon, which are very big e-commerce platforms. Now we've added a new layer to our new retail business, which is our offline business. Okay. So we've started to open Mi Homes, which are these offline stores that combine retail, service, all this in one single experience. I think the most amazing thing about our offline retail business is that our products are sold at the same price as they're sold online.
Okay.
Which means they're very, very efficient offline. We have almost no margin as well. So that's the second tier of our business. And of course, we've opened that in other markets as well. So we've opened 10 Mi Homes in India already, and we plan to open up to 100 Mi Homes in India by 2019. And we've opened up to 130 authorized Mi stores in all of our other countries, over 60 countries worldwide. And then the third part of our business, what you just mentioned, is our internet services business. The internet services business is most mature in China because that's the market we've been in for the longest. We've been in China for 7 years. And our internet services business in China is very, very complete. We have our own app store. We have our own theme store. We have our own MVNO, which is a mobile virtual carrier network. We have a huge variety of services that we can provide to our users because we have a very big base of users. Worldwide, we have 280 million users on our internet platform. And so as we make more inroads into our other key markets globally, we'll also build out our services platform. So I would say the next major market where we're going to build out our internet services would be India. So we just announced that we'll invest up to $1 billion USD in India over the next few years in over 100 tech startups to help build up an internet content ecosystem where we can have a lot of various services, and then we can share sort of partnership and revenue with all these different partners.
Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about India then. So you guys are seemingly doing very well. It's obviously a really, really big market and one that's important for the future. Some people have said India's 5-10 years behind China in terms of and it's also Southeast Asia in terms of the development of the internet and other technologies there. But how would you describe how is Xiaomi doing in India right now? What stage are you at, and what is the plan moving forward for that region?
India is one of our key markets globally. It's an extremely important market for us. It's also developing very, very quickly. I think every time I go to India, it feels like it's a new place. It's just moving so quickly. So in India, we've been there for about 3 years now. We've managed to achieve some pretty great results. When we first entered, we were not even sure that it was possible to sell phones online in India because no one had ever really tried it at that scale. And today, we've played a small role, we think, in helping to lift the entire online smartphone segment in India to almost 20-30% of the market. And we have over 50% market share in the online segment. So we've really shown that our model works quite well in India. We just announced that according to the latest IDC results in Q3, we are now number 1 in India with 23.5% market share, which I think is a pretty amazing result for just 3 years. We've also found that our phones, which are priced very aggressively with amazing specs, they seem to really fit the Indian consumers' needs. So we found that the number 1 best-selling phone in India is the Redmi Note 4. The number 2 best-selling phone is the Redmi 4. And the number 3 best-selling phone is the Redmi 4A. In other words, the top 3 best-selling products in India are Xiaomi phones, which we think is just absolutely amazing.
Why are those ones popular? Is it they're competitively priced, but is there something else that attracts those particular models?
I think there's a lot of things about these models that are very attractive to a lot of our Indian users. First of all, they all have the best processor available at that price range. So for example, the Redmi Note 4 comes with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 625, which is an amazing processor for that price range of around 9,000 to 12,000 rupees. On top of that, all 3 of these phones have massive batteries, over 4,000 milliamp hours. So in many cases, you can use it for up to 2 days without having to charge your phone. Very, very important for a lot of our Indian users. They don't overheat as well. Overheating is a big concern for a lot of our Indian users because the temperature tends to be a bit higher in India than, say, in a place like China. So there's just a lot of things about these phones, whether the camera, the processor, the build quality, the price, that really just combine to make a unbeatable phone in every price segment.
You've already mentioned you have hundreds of SKUs outside of just phones, even though Xiaomi is mostly known as a phone manufacturer. How are those products doing in India? Are you seeing any uptake outside of your core mobile offerings?
Absolutely. So when it comes to our ecosystem products, all of the products outside of our phone business, that business is most mature in China. Because we started it only about 3-4 years into the company's life cycle. We are bringing that very aggressively to our global markets. In India, the very first product in our ecosystem portfolio that we launched was the air purifier. Because India, there often are some air quality issues as well, and the air purifier we thought was a great fit. That has been selling extremely well in India. We've also brought our Mi Band, which is our fitness band, to India, and that's also been selling extremely well. So as things develop, we will definitely bring more and more ecosystem products to India, and we will see how they do. But we are very optimistic about all of them. All of our product lines we love.
Sure. I mean, how does it all fit together? Because I visited the flagship Xiaomi store in Shenzhen recently. I was quite impressed, again, with the product range. And it just hit me, what's the strategy here? Is the phone the center of this, and then all the other devices in your house are being controlled by the app? What is it? This is a cloud strategy. How does all of these SKUs fit together?
Yeah, our strategy is quite simple. We want to sell the world's best technology products at the best price. They're not just phones, they're not just TVs, they're not just routers. There's a whole range of products. At this point, we definitely see the phone as being at the center of many people's lives. It's a very important product, and it's a very important product for us to be able to have more internet users as well. So the phone is a very, very important product for us right now. All of these other products over time will also become more and more important, whether they are scooters or rice cookers or fitness bands or routers or things like that. And we have an app called the Mi Home app, which is also developed by us. We just announced today that the Mi Home app now has over 85 million connected devices. And so the Mi Home app is the center for many people. So you can use the Mi Home app to control your rice cooker from a continent away to have it start cooking rice, or to have the air purifier turn on. The Mi Home app is a open platform, so it's available on not just Android devices, but also on iPhone, on iOS devices. So we want users of all sort of phone categories to be able to use our products. All of these products together, we showcase them on our new retail channels, like on Mi.com and our Mi Homes. And because there's so many different products, they help each other. They drive traffic for each other. If we only sold phones, then users might not necessarily need to get a new phone every week. But when there's over 200 product lines, there's always something new, something interesting for people to come take a look. So it helps to drive traffic into our stores online and offline. And then as more and more people use our platform and our products, it of course helps our internet business because we get more users. So I would say those 3 pillars that I mentioned in our business model, that's how they fit together.
Could you give an example of how I get for the phone, how the phone can talk to all the devices, but how is traffic being driven from other devices to each other?
Okay. Let me explain. So when I say driving traffic, there's a few aspects. One is driving traffic to the e-commerce channel or to the offline channel. So for example, maybe you visit a Mi Home because you want to check out the latest scooter that we have. While you're there, you realize that there's some amazing power banks and some amazing fitness bands that you could also buy. We even have things like different cameras, different robot cleaners, like vacuum cleaners. So they drive traffic in the sense that once you're in the store, you may be interested in buying products beyond what you had just initially thought of. Additionally, if you're using a single app called the Mi Home app to help control these different products, we also have an online store in that app as well.
Right.
So when you are controlling your app for your rice cooker, you may say, oh, actually my air purifier needs a new filter, so I'll buy a new air purifier filter as well. And while I'm at it, maybe I should buy an air purifier for my friend because that could be a good product. So these products, because they're displayed in the same area, they help drive traffic to each other. That's what we mean.
Okay. So you're talking traffic mainly in terms of sales. I was thinking more in terms of are they talking to each other? Are they sharing data between each other? I mean, you guys have a smart speaker as well, yes, right? Yes. So if I buy your smart speaker, is this in terms of a seamless experience between my phone and the speaker and my TV and other devices? That must be part of the deal, I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Our hope, of course, this third pillar that we mentioned, the internet platform, is we definitely want to build that out. I think it will take some more time. Right now, we're a little bit more focused on making sure we have high quality hardware through these channels that we can sell, both in China and globally. In China, we've made a lot more progress on the internet platform, and over time, we're going to make more and more progress on the internet platform in all of our global markets.
Okay, awesome. It's a really interesting aspect because you do have an impressive product range, and it's how does it all fit together? From a consumer perspective, if I buy everything Xiaomi, how is that going to change my life, and what things are possible, in terms of seamless experiences? If I'm talking to my device and then something's popping up on my, something else.
So I think that this will just get better and better over time because we're really just at the beginning of this journey. One key product that we launched in our ecosystem business recently was the Mi AI speaker. So it's a smart, intelligent assistant that you can talk to directly, and it can help to turn off the lights in your home. It can help to cook rice for you. So there's a lot of connectivity that we've already built into this device with the rest of our Xiaomi ecosystem products. So you can ask it to, for example, play music. You can ask it to turn on the robot cleaner and start cleaning things. You can ask it to maybe turn on your TV. You can ask it to turn on and off the lights in your room. So there's a lot of things that we can already do with just this AI speaker and the whole suite of services. Over time, it will just get more and more interesting. Stay tuned.
Okay, awesome. Maybe one final question. Going back to your internationalization, you have a strong community in China. How do you go about building community in other markets? It's a challenge. You're starting from zero. It's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. You've mentioned, for example, you very recently you're moving into Spain, into Western Europe. How would you go about developing an offline community in a new market?
Going international is a very, very key priority for us. We have aspirations to be a global company because, as we mentioned, our mission is innovation for everyone, which means everyone in the world. We're already in over 60 markets. To your point, actually, in many of these markets, we are actually not starting from zero. We actually, in a lot of markets, already have a very vibrant Me community. And that's for a number of reasons. First of all, we're very active online, especially in social media, things like that. So we're able to interact with fans even before we've necessarily launched products in that market.
Okay.
Our very first product was actually MIUI, our internet platform. Mm-hmm. And we actually worked on MIUI for a year and a half before we even launched our first phone, the Mi 1. And MIUI, pretty much from day one, already was active in over 30 countries. A lot of users would download the ROM, translate it into their local language, things like that. So we've had some fans who've been with us for about 7 years already and have helped to already nurture this environment. We have also had a lot of fans who have really just done anything possible to buy those products, even if we were not officially selling them in the country yet. So we already have a fan base. That's actually part of how we pick what countries we go into. Partly we entered Spain is because we have a very robust Mi fan community in Spain already. And then, of course, once we enter that country, we want to make sure that we first service those Mi fans because they will be key and crucial to us spreading the word in that country.
Right.
Yeah. So when we do that, we focus a lot on what is the existing Mi fan community in each of these countries. How do we cultivate it? How do we work with them to spread the word? And then how do we make sure that we can bring sort of all the right products at the right prices to that country?
Okay, cool. All right, Donovan, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And that's all we have for this episode of China Tech Talk. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, we'd really appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes. And if you're on Overcast or Pocket Cast, you can just tap on that star button and it will recommend this episode to your network.